Investigators across the South working to fight back against crimes like this one. Thieves taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from stores, sometimes threatening or even assaulting workers. The Organized Retail Crime Alliance includes federal, state, and local agencies who investigate reports of crime state to state. Here in Mississippi, D'Iberville police are cracking down on shoplifters. Chief Shannon Noble says 90 shoplifting-related arrests were made just in the last month. Noble says 2 crime retail officers are assigned to all businesses in the Promenade Shopping Center.
Every business here in the city of D'Iberville, it's a retail business, has direct contact with our retail crime officers, and those retail crime officers are in charge of taking their reports, investigating their crimes, and that's every business in the city has access to 2 police officers designated to service them. And we partner with Homeland Security to collaborate. Maybe that's something that they've seen in their cities or in their areas and other parts of the state that we can work together to prevent in our city.
Other states included in the partnership are Louisiana, Arkansas, and Alabama.